Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are not just analyzing a story. We're stepping into an entire atmosphere.
Mhm.
I want you to mentally transport yourself, if you can, to the Pacific Northwest. Specifically, we're going to Portland, Oregon.
And we are definitely not talking about the summer version of Portland with the rose gardens and the craft breweries out in the sunshine.
No, definitely not. We're talking about November in Portland.
And if you have ever spent any real time in that part of the world in late autumn, you know exactly what that means.
Oh, yeah.
It is gray, it is cold, and, well, above all else, it's
Constantly wet.
The rain is perpetual. It's not a storm that just kind of passes through. It's a constant state of being. It's that kind of drizzle that doesn't just get you wet. It feels like it soaks right into your bones.
Right, it changes everything.
It changes the way the city looks, the way it sounds, and frankly, the way people think. It creates this profound feeling of isolation, doesn't it? The horizon just shrinks down to like the end of the block. The clouds act like a low ceiling. It is the perfect, almost claustrophobic setting for a noir mystery.
It really is.
It sets the emotional stage before the first crime is even committed.
Which is exactly what we're unpacking today. We're looking at the case files, the personal narratives, and all the forensic details surrounding a very specific, very tangled homicide case. This deep dive is based on the narrative and the investigative notes that are found in Deception by Randy Alcorn. We're going to be dissecting the murder of Professor William Palantine.
But calling it just a murder case feels, I don't know, it feels a bit too simple, doesn't it?
It does.
It feels like we are seriously underselling the complexity here.
It really does. Because usually in a deep dive like this, we would be talking about, the cat and mouse game between a brilliant detective and some cunning killer.
Yeah.
We were used to that dynamic.
That's the classic setup.
But the hook here, the thing that makes this case a complete psychological nightmare, is that the lines are just completely blurred. We're following homicide detective Ollie Chandler. And very, very quickly, Ollie realizes that the breadcrumbs at the crime scene aren't leading to some stranger in the shadows.
No, they're leading right back to him.
Imagine that for just a second. You are the lead investigator. It is your job. It's your entire identity to find the truth. But every single piece of physical evidence you turn over points to you.
And to make it 100 times worse, you can't remember where you were when the murder happened.
You have no alibi.
It's the ultimate unreliable narrator scenario,
Yeah.
But it's applied to a high-stakes forensic investigation. You have a detective who's battling these memory lapses, he's battling this profound grief, and on top of all of it, a forced partnership with a journalist he absolutely cannot stand.
It's a complete pressure cooker.
It's a pressure cooker inside a pressure cooker.
So our mission today is to sift through this whole mess. We're going to break down the physical evidence, which is baffling and, frankly, contradictory. We're going to profile the psychology of these characters because they are fascinatingly complex. And we're going to look at the philosophical undercurrents here. Because at its heart, this is a battle between truth and deception.
And in this case, the deception might be internal. It might be the lies we tell ourselves just to survive.
Let's start with our protagonist, Detective Ollie Chandler. If we were casting the movie version of this in our heads, who are we even looking at? Because he's a very specific type.
Ollie is. Gosh, he's an anachronism. That's the best word for him. He feels like a man who fell out of a 1940s film noir and just landed, kind of confused, in modern-day Portland.
Right.
He doesn't look like the other detectives in his precinct.
So no suits and ties, no, tactical vests or anything?
No way. Ollie wears a trench coat, and he is very specific about it. It's a trench coat, not a raincoat. He will correct people on this.
Of course he will.
And he wears a fedora. He is consciously styling himself after the greats of detective fiction. Sam Spade, Philip Marlowe, even Columbo.
He's playing a part.
He is. He admits in his own internal monologue that he does it to create the mood.
He's armoring himself in this persona.
He is, totally. In a department full of guys in, Gore-Tex jackets or cheap polyester suits, Ollie is the oddball in the hat. But the most distinct thing about him, I think, is the voice.
The source material describes it as a cement truck voice.
Which is just such a vivid description. You hear that phrase and you immediately think, heavy smoker. Someone who has been chain smoking unfiltered cigarettes for 40 years?
You expect him to have a pack of Lucky Strikes in his pocket.
Exactly. But that's the twist. Ollie doesn't smoke.
Right.
He doesn't. The voice comes from a childhood trauma, a throat injury, a damaged larynx that left him sounding like he's perpetually gargling gravel.
Wow.
It's deep, it's raspy, and it really commands attention. It sounds like the voice of experience, or maybe more accurately, the voice of exhaustion.
So he looks the part, he sounds the part, but what's actually driving him? Because his name is interesting. It's almost too perfect for a detective.
Oliver Justice Chandler. See, that feels like destiny. Or maybe a burden.
He takes it very, very seriously. He grew up reading comic books, specifically the Justice League of America. His hero wasn't a sports star or a politician. It was Green Lantern.
In brightest day, in darkest night.
No evil shall escape my sight. That's the oath. And for Ollie, that is not just some pop culture reference from his childhood. That is his operating system. See, Ollie is an agnostic. He leans heavily toward atheism. He looks at the world and he just sees a mess. He sees bad people getting away with terrible things. He sees pain and chaos.
And since he doesn't believe in a God who is going to, balance the scales in the afterlife.
Exactly. He doesn't believe in divine justice. He doesn't believe there is some judgment day where everything is finally made right. So logically, in his mind, he believes it is entirely up to him.
It's on his shoulders.
It's all on him. He has to fix it here and now. He wants to catch the bad guys that he thinks God let slip through the cracks. It's just an incredibly heavy burden to carry, thinking you are the only line of defense against chaos. It is. And he carries it with this really thick layer of cynicism. He uses humor as a shield. The text is just full of these Ollieisms.
Oh, he's incredibly witty. But it's a biting wit. There's this line he has about trouble that I absolutely love. He says, "Messing with me is like wearing cheese underwear down Rat Alley."
That's so vivid and disgusting and incredibly memorable.
It's defensive humor, though, because if you peel back the trench coat and the jokes and the whole tough guy persona, you find a man who is in deep, deep, unresolved grief.
He's a widower.
Yeah. His wife, Sharon, died 2 years ago, and he has not processed it. He hasn't moved on at all. He is just stuck in that moment of loss. He's self-medicating heavily. He runs on French roast coffee to wake up. He's completely obsessive about his coffee, and then he uses Budweiser or wine to pass out at night.
And we really need to flag this for the listener. This isn't just a character detail to make him seem gritty. The drinking is a major plot point.
It is absolutely critical. He's drinking to the point of blacking out. He loses time. He wakes up and he doesn't know how he got into bed. He finds fast food wrappers in his car that he doesn't remember buying.
So when we get to the actual murder investigation, his lack of memory isn't just an inconvenience. It's a terrifying void in his alibi.
Yes. He literally does not know what he does when the lights go out.
And he's also completely isolated from his family.
He has 2 daughters, Kendra, who he describes as a postmodern environmentalist. They're like oil and water. She thinks he is a dinosaur, a relic of a patriarchal system. He thinks she is naive and completely disconnected from reality. They can barely speak to each other without it turning into an argument.
And then there's Andrea.
Yeah, the missing daughter.
She just ran away.
She ran away. She's just gone. He can't find her. And you have to think about the psychology of that. He's a detective. His entire identity is based on finding people, finding the truth, solving puzzles, and he cannot solve the most important puzzle of his life.
He can't find his own child.
Right. That failure eats him alive every single day.
He does have one friend, though. The only living thing he truly trusts and opens up to.
Mulch.
We have to talk about Mulch.
You have to love Mulch. He's a bull mastiff. But not just any bull mastiff. He's bald. Bald. Like, naturally.
No. Apparently, Ollie loved him within an inch of his life. He petted him so much and so aggressively that the hair supposedly fell out. Or maybe it's a skin condition. But in Ollie's mind, it's a sign of affection.
That's one way to look at it.
Mulch is his roommate, his sounding board, his therapist, and he got the name Mulch because of let's call it a diplomatic incident.
The incident with the police chief.
Right. Ollie hates the police chief, Edward Lennox. Lennox is all about image and press conferences and politics. Ollie is about street justice.
The opposite.
Total opposite. And apparently, the dog picked up on that vibe. They were in a park, Lennox was there, and the dog decided to relieve himself on the chief's leg, right near a pile of mulch.
So Ollie named the dog Mulch as a tribute to that moment of rebellion. Exactly. It shows Ollie's rebellious streak. He hates authority, specifically authority that cares more about PR than justice. Mulch is the physical embodiment of Ollie's disdain for the bureaucracy.
Okay, so that is our stage. We have a cynical, grieving, alcoholic detective who wants to be Green Lantern but feels like he is failing at every turn. Now, before we get to the main murder, there was another case, the Jimmy Ross case.
Right. This is the precursor. It happens about 2 weeks before the main event. And it's important because it establishes the baseline for Ollie's competence. He's a good cop.
Jimmy Ross was a drug dealer.
Yeah, low level, small time. He was found shot twice in the head. Ollie and his partner, Manny Damast, investigate, and it looks like a textbook turf war.
Then they find a suspect almost immediately.
Lincoln Caldwell, a rival dealer.
Yeah.
And the evidence against him is overwhelming. They find the murder weapon on him. They find the red sweatpants that witnesses described him wearing. They have a clear motive, which is territory.
Slam dunk.
Ollie calls it open and shut. It contributes to his 87% solve rate, which is very high. But he has a nagging feeling.
It was too easy.
It was too perfect. And this is the central theme of deception, really. When things fit together perfectly in a murder case, usually someone has manufactured the puzzle pieces.
Because real life is messy.
Right. Real crime is chaotic. When the evidence lines up like a row of dominoes, Ollie gets suspicious. He pushes that feeling down because he wants the win, he wants the case closed, but it's there. He knows that sometimes the truth is just a really well-constructed lie.
Which brings us to the main event, the case that doesn't fit together at all. The murder of Professor William Palatine.
This is where the story shifts from a standard police procedural to a full-blown psychological thriller.
Let's go to the scene. 2230 Southeast Oak, a nice house, respectable neighborhood, and the victim is a very, very specific type of person.
Dr. William Palatine, philosophy professor at Portland State. He is the antithesis of Ollie.
How so?
Ollie believes in justice with a capital J. He believes in right and wrong, black and white. Palatine was a moral relativist. He taught his students that truth is just a function of power.
So basically, whoever has the biggest stick decides what is true.
That's it. There is no objective morality. He even had a voicemail greeting quoting Nietzsche. Whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth.
Wow. I bet he was fun at parties.
He was a celebrated academic, though. He won a Rotary Club award, but personally, he was abrasive, he challenged people's beliefs, he made enemies, a lot of them.
So Palatine is found dead on his living room floor, and the state of the body is confusing.
Confusing is an understatement. It's a forensic mess. It's like a riddle written in flesh.
Walk us through the injuries. Because there isn't just one clear cause of death, right?
Not at all. Okay, so the primary cause of death seems to be 2 gunshot wounds to the chest. Simple enough. That kills you.
Okay.
But there is a rope noose around his neck.
Is he hanged?
No, that's the really weird part. The rope was cut. It wasn't attached to a rafter or a beam or anything. It was just tied there, around his neck, using a bowline knot.
A bowline knot. That's specific. That's a sailing knot, isn't it?
Sailing, climbing, rescue work. It creates a fixed loop at the end of a rope that won't slip or jam under load. It's a very intentional, very skilled knot.
So it suggests the killer knew what they were doing with ropes.
Yes. It wasn't just a clumsy granny knot tied in a panic. This was deliberate.
And then there's the needle mark.
Right on the shoulder. Now, Palatine was diabetic, so he used insulin needles. He would have marks. But the medical examiner, Dr. Hatch, finds this blue residue near the specific mark. It wasn't insulin. And the body itself has this strange bluish tint to the skin.
Which suggests poison.
Or some kind of chemical agent. So you have a body that was potentially poisoned, strangled, or at least noosed and shot. It is absolute overkill. It's theatrical. The killer didn't just want him dead. They wanted to make a statement.
Let's look at the room around the body. Because the staging is just as weird.
The solitaire game. This is a detail that really stuck out to me as just a brilliant piece of detective work by Ollie. Palatine was playing solitaire on a real table with real cards.
Analog.
Totally. So Ollie looks at the spread, and he sees the ace of spades.
The death card.
Exactly. It's face up on the table. But here's the thing about solitaire, and Ollie spots this immediately. If you turn over an ace, you play it. It's the foundation. You move it to the top to start your stack.
You never leave it in the main playing area.
You never just leave an ace sitting on the table face up. It blocks the game. It makes no sense.
So it wasn't part of the game.
No. Ollie deduces that the game was interrupted. The killer likely found the ace in the deck and placed it there, face up, after the murder. It's a symbol.
They're sending a message.
Yeah. The game is over, or death is here, something like that.
And speaking of messages, there is the computer.
The so-called suicide note.
Typed on the screen.
It reads, I, Dr. William Palatine, do not deserve to live. I should be cast into a deep sea with a millstone around my neck.
Now, that is very specific phrasing. Millstone around my neck. That's biblical.
It is directly from the Gospels. Mark chapter 9, Luke chapter 17. It refers to the punishment for anyone who causes one of these little ones to stumble.
Little ones meaning children. Or like new believers.
In the biblical context, it usually means children or new vulnerable believers, yes.
Yeah.
The verse says, it would be better for a man to be drowned with a heavy millstone than to cause them to stumble into sin or ruin. It's all about spiritual corruption.
But Palatine was an atheist. He actively mocked religion. Why would he write a suicide note quoting Jesus?
He wouldn't. That is the whole point. It completely contradicts his personality. It screams forced confession or staged suicide. It tells us the killer has a religious or a moral vendetta.
Right.
They believe Palatine did something to corrupt someone, maybe a student, and this is his judgment. They are executing him for what they see as a spiritual crime.
And there are other things missing from the scene, too.
A wine bottle. There are 2 glasses in the sink with white wine residue on them. They've been wiped clean of fingerprints. But there's no bottle anywhere in the house.
Meaning the killer took it with them.
Probably because they brought it, or maybe they just touched it and couldn't wipe it clean properly. It implies a social interaction, though. They sat down, had a drink, and then murder.
Which suggests Palatine knew his killer.
Or at least trusted them enough to let them in and pour a glass of wine.
And finally, the window.
The bedroom window is broken, but the glass shards are mostly outside on the lawn.
Which means it was broken from the inside.
Exactly. If someone broke in, the glass would be on the bedroom rug. This looks like someone broke out. Or, more likely, they staged it to look like a break-in but got the physics wrong.
It's sloppy.
It's a little clumsy, yeah. There are some trace shards inside, which suggests the force came from inside the room. It just doesn't add up.
So we have a staged scene. We have a killer who is judging the victim.
Yeah.
But here is where the deep dive gets really dark for Ollie. The evidence starts to get personal.
This is the moment the floor just drops out from under him.
Ollie checks the phone records. He hits redial on Palatine's phone.
And he hears his own voice on the answering machine.
The last call Palatine made was to Ollie's home phone.
His unlisted home phone,
Yeah.
which is terrifying.
Ollie goes home to check his machine. He has to actually physically go home because, as we'll find out, he doesn't know how to check it remotely. He's technologically illiterate.
Right, the flashing 12.0 on the VCR.
Exactly. So he gets home, he listens to the message, and it's just terrifying. It's just silence and breathing.
Chilling.
Someone called him from the murder scene, just breathed into the phone, and hung up.
And Ollie has to ask himself, was that the victim trying to reach him in a panic? Or was it the killer taunting him? I know who you are. I know where you live.
And the bigger problem, the immediate problem for him is, Ollie doesn't know where he was.
He was drunk. He remembers buying donuts. He finds the box in his car, but he has a total blackout for the exact time of the murder. He has no alibi whatsoever.
And then the rope.
Ugh, the rope. The blue marlow rope with the red flecks. It's rare. You have to go to a specialized marine supply shop to get it. Ollie investigates the source, but then he gets this sick feeling. A hunch.
And he goes to his own garage.
He goes to his own garage.
And what does he find?
He finds a spool of that exact blue marlow rope, and it's been freshly cut.
That is a legitimate horror movie moment. Standing in your own garage, holding the murder weapon, essentially.
It presents a terrifying binary choice for Ollie, right? Option A. He got blackout drunk, went to the professor's house for some reason, and killed him. Maybe his subconscious desire for justice took over. Maybe he hated Palatine's philosophy so much he just snapped.
Or option B.
Or option B. Someone is framing him. But not just a casual frame-up. This is intimate. This is someone who can get into his locked garage. Someone who knows he buys marlow rope. Someone who knows his unlisted phone number.
It means the enemy is close. It's someone he knows.
It completely destabilizes his entire reality. He can't trust his own memory, and now he can't trust his own safety. He is walking through a minefield, and he might have planted the mines himself.
And he can't even investigate this quietly because now he has a shadow.
Right. We have to talk about the partnership. This is the friction that drives the daily narrative.
The police chief, Lennox, wants good PR. The publisher of the Oregon Tribune, Raylon Berkeley, wants a scoop. So they cut a deal.
A terrible deal.
A reporter is going to embed with a homicide detective.
And they pick the worst possible match you can imagine. Ollie Chandler is paired with Clarence Abernathy.
Describe Clarence for us.
Clarence is everything. Ollie is not. He's a columnist, a former sports writer. He is a large black man, impeccably dressed, always in suits and ties. Ollie calls him Shaq sometimes.
He's buttoned up.
Very. He is fastidious, analytical, and completely by the book.
Which is the total opposite of Ollie.
It's a total clash. Ollie is old school. He cuts corners, he follows hunches, he ignores procedure whenever it's inconvenient. Clarence is watching him like a hawk and writing it all down.
And they have history. It's not like they're strangers.
Bad history. Years ago, there was a case involving Clarence's sister. Ollie was the detective on the case. And Clarence feels the police failed her. He feels justice was never served. So there is deep personal resentment there.
So Clarence isn't just there to observe.
No, he's there to judge. He's looking for proof that Ollie, and by extension the entire department, is incompetent.
And Clarence is writing about the investigation as it happens. This is what's so wild to me.
He publishes an article. He calls Ollie competent, but he includes these little digs, these little details. He mocks Ollie's VCR.
The VCR flashing 12.0.
Yes. That just highlights that Ollie is out of touch with technology. He mocks Ollie's inability to check his voicemail remotely.
And this just drives Ollie crazy.
Well, it's dangerous. I mean, think about it. If the killer reads that article, they know Ollie hasn't checked his voicemail. They know Ollie might not have heard that breathing message yet. Clarence is inadvertently giving the killer intel.
They do have a buffer, though, a mutual friend who kind of stands between them.
Jake Woods.
Jake is the third wheel in this relationship.
Jake is the mediator. He's a Vietnam vet, so he shares that bond of trauma with Ollie. They know what it's like to see death in a jungle.
Right.
But he is also a devout Christian, so he shares that faith bond with Clarence. He's constantly trying to bridge the gap between the cynic and the believer.
And Jake is the one who introduces the deeper themes, right? The philosophical stuff.
He does. He challenges Ollie constantly. There's this ongoing debate between them throughout the whole narrative. Jake argues that you can't have justice without truth, and he warns Ollie about spiritual blindness.
He talks about the father of lies.
He tells Ollie that deception is the native language of evil. And Ollie just dismisses this as pie-in-the-sky religion. He wants facts. He wants fingerprints. He wants something tangible.
But as the physical evidence starts to lie to him.
Exactly. The rope, the phone call, Ollie starts to realize that maybe Jake is right. Maybe there is a deception that's deeper than just forensic clues. Maybe there is a spiritual element to this darkness he's facing.
Let's get back to the street level, though, because they do have witnesses, or, well, they have people who saw something.
The witnesses in this case are a tragicomedy. They really are.
Let's start with the comedy. Rebecca Butler.
Apartment 205. She overlooks a house. She tells the police she saw a man at Palatine's door.
And her description is it's iconic.
She says he looked like Abraham Lincoln.
Tall, gaunt stovepipe hat.
That's what you would expect, right? But Ollie, being a good detective, presses her. What do you mean, Lincoln? And she clarifies. He was short, pudgy, bald.
That is not Lincoln. That's the opposite of Lincoln. That's like Danny DeVito.
But he had a beard, a blonde or orange beard, and a stocking cap. So to her, beard just equals Lincoln.
That is completely useless as a description.
It's contradictory, but it raises a really interesting question. Was she just confused, or did she see a disguise? A short, bald man with a fake beard. It hints at that theatricality again.
And then there's the tragedy. The hamster guy.
Paul Frederick. He lives in the same complex. He's a petty criminal, a shoplifter, drug user, but he has a hamster named Brent.
We have to respect Brent the hamster.
We do. Frederick admits he was watching the neighborhood with binoculars. He's a voyeur. But he saw something crucial. He saw a visitor hand Palatine a picture or a flyer. He thought it looked like a lost dog flyer, and he saw Palatine let the man in. This suggests Palatine wasn't afraid of the visitor, at least not initially.
This is a huge lead. This is the first real witness. So Ollie and Clarence interview him. Frederick is excited. He wants to help. He wants to look at a lineup.
He thinks he's finally going to be a hero. He thinks he matters for once in his life. Shortly after they leave, Paul Frederick goes over his balcony railing.
He falls.
He is pushed. He dies on the pavement below.
So now we don't just have a weird theatrical murder. We have a silenced witness.
This escalates everything. It means the killer is watching. The killer knew Frederick talked to the cops, and the killer acted immediately to cut that thread.
It proves this isn't a crime of passion that's over and done with. This is an active operation.
And it puts Ollie and Clarence directly in the crosshairs. If the killer is willing to kill a witness, they are definitely willing to kill a cop or a reporter who gets too close.
There's one more thread, though. the private investigator.
Ray Eagle. Palatine called him a few days before he died. Palatine was scared.
What did he tell the PI?
He said he was receiving oblique threats. He was being told he would be held accountable for wronging someone.
Wronging someone. It circles right back to the millstone note.
Exactly. Causing little ones to stumble. This killer believes they are balancing the cosmic scales. Palatine hurt someone, and now he has to pay.
I want to pause on the philosophy here for a second, because deception isn't just a whodunit, it's a whydunit on a cosmic level.
Absolutely. You have these three distinct worldviews just colliding with each other.
You have Valjean.
The victim. Moral relativism. There is no truth, only power. He represents the modern academic view that all values are subjective.
Then you have the killer.
The avenger. Twisted moral absolutism. They believe they have the right to judge and execute based on biblical law, even if they're twisting it to fit their needs. They believe in sin and punishment in a very real, very final way.
And you have Ollie.
The agnostic. He's stuck right in the middle. He rejects Palatine's idea that truth doesn't exist. He knows murder is wrong. He knows evil when he sees it. But he also rejects the religious view that God is in control of any of this.
There's a scene at Lou's Diner that just captures this perfectly.
The diner time forgot. It's Ollie's sanctuary. He's there eating cheeseburgers and onion rings with Jake and Clarence.
And huckleberry pie.
Always the huckleberry pie. And Jake pushes him. He says, Ollie, you want justice. But where does justice come from if there is no God? And Ollie's response is, I'd rather have my pie here and now. He wants tangible results. Right. But the case is proving that the here and now is completely unreliable. The facts are slippery. The evidence is lying.
Which leads us to the final and maybe the most damning piece of physical evidence. The one Ollie hasn't told anyone about.
The gum wrapper.
This is the detail that it keeps me up at night.
Ollie has a very specific habit. He chews blackjack gum.
That's the black licorice stuff.
Aniseed and licorice. It's an old school gum. Very rare. You don't really see people chewing it anymore. It is Ollie's trademark. He pops a stick before he enters a crime scene to settle his stomach. It helps him deal with the smell of death.
And at Palatine's house.
Ollie looks down, and there, on the floor, kind of hidden near a chair, is a blackjack gum wrapper.
Had he been there? Does he remember being there?
He doesn't remember, but the wrapper is there.
So what does he do?
He picks it up, he puts it in his pocket.
He suppresses evidence.
He crosses the line. Because he knows if Clarence or any of the other cops see that wrapper, it places Ollie Chandler at the scene of the murder. It's proof he was there.
So now, he is completely compromised. He is hiding evidence to protect himself.
Or is he protecting the framer? Think about it. If someone is framing him, they planted the rope, they made the phone call, did they also plant the gum wrapper? Did they know him well enough to know he chews blackjack gum?
That implies the killer has studied him.
It implies the killer is obsessed with him. This whole thing is about him.
So let's just summarize the absolute nightmare we're in right now.
We have a dead philosophy professor killed in a staged, ritualistic way. We have a second murder, the only witness, Paul Frederick.
We have a lead detective who is an alcoholic, grieving widower with major memory blackouts.
And we have a trail of physical evidence, the rope, the phone call, the gum wrapper, that leads 100% directly to that detective.
The central question is just enormous. Is Ollie Chandler a killer who doesn't know it? Has his grief and his drinking pushed him over an edge he can't remember? Or is he the victim of the most elaborate, personal frame-up imaginable?
And if it is a frame-up, who hates him that much? Or, and this is another angle, who loves him enough to try to teach him a lesson about justice and truth?
Yes, and the chilling thought we are going to leave you with. In a world where truth is debated by professors and justice is sought by flawed men, the scariest deception might be the one you see staring back at you in the mirror.
Indeed. Who knows Ollie well enough to plant that rope in his garage? The answer might be much closer to home than he dares to think.
We will continue this investigation in the next deep dive, but for now, just think about that gum wrapper.
And maybe check your own garage.
Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.